Okay, I think we can get started for tonight. Hello, everybody. My name is Hillary Deerdorf. I am the Associate Director of the College Advising Corps here at Indiana University Bloomington. Thank you for joining us for this information session on the 21st Century Scholars Program. I'm going to go ahead and start sharing my screen in our slide deck. We'll start just with some housekeeping items and opportunities here. Any questions that you all have, feel free to use that chat box down there at the bottom of your screen. Any questions that you have, we'll be looking periodically throughout. We'll be able to type back any answers, or we'll be able to answer those on screen for you as well too. So don't hesitate to let us know if you need anything during this time together. Okay. All right, so I hope you all can see my screen well. Just let me know if you need any adjusting. But we are so excited to have you all here tonight. This is the information session for the 21st Century Scholars Pre-College Academy. Specifically tonight, we're going to be talking more so about the program in general, and we have partners here from the Indiana Commission of Higher Education that are joining us. And then we also will be doing a deeper dive into some sessions that you can expect over the next several weeks as well with the Pre-College Academy itself. So first and foremost, we here at IU Bloomington like to start off with a land acknowledgement statement for the university. So Indiana University wishes to acknowledge and honor the indigenous communities native to this region and recognize that Indiana University Bloomington was built on indigenous homelands and resources. We recognize the Miami, Delaware, Potawatomi, and Shawnee people, past, present, and future caretakers of this land. So again, welcome. We're so excited to learn together and share information about this amazing program and these opportunities that you all have as a family to take part in together. Like I said, I work with the College Advising Corps specifically. It is a new program, so my lovely partners here allowed me to take the floor for a few minutes to share with you all this great program that we're hoping to expand upon throughout the state as well. So specifically, Indiana College Advising Corps, it's an inaugural program that started this year at Indiana University Bloomington, where we, our mission specifically as a partnership with the National College Advising Corps nonprofit, which is in 17 other states across the country. The mission is to increase college access and promote a college-going culture among our first generation, underrepresented and low-income high school students. And for us, that's specifically here in the state of Indiana. We're homegrown, and we know that it's super important that we are reaching out and providing opportunities to these schools and these families that are within these communities that welcome us in with open arms. And we want to provide the skill set and the knowledge that we have to ensure that there's a pathway to college through the work that they're doing in high school, and at least as a post-secondary plan, and we hope to be able to support many students in that charge as well. So right now we're in 6 high schools. They're on the screen there for you in various counties, and we're excited to hopefully expand that over the next few years as well. But if any of you are here joining from these counties and these high schools, know that we do have an advisor present at your schools right now. So any questions that your student, especially as they're going into their freshman year of high school, maybe next year, or any time during that high school career, they're going to have access not only to their high school counselor, but this College Advising Corps advisor specifically, who will be focused more so with them on the college search, standardized prep, coordinating campus visits to not only IU's campus, but campuses across the state as well. We know that not every student may want to attend IU Bloomington. We want to make sure the best fit's out there for that student. So being able to share in that across the state, helping students with financial aid opportunities, essay writing, scholarship search, you name it, anything that is part of that college pathway, we're here to serve in those areas. So I'm going to go ahead and stop sharing my screen now, and I'm going to turn it over to our amazing partners from the Indiana Commission of Higher Education. We have Greg Harrell and Brittany Collins with us.
Awesome. Thank you, Hillary. It's so great to be with you all tonight. Definitely appreciate Indiana University's partnership in making this forum available. And then we're also very excited to be carrying out various sessions in partnership with them throughout this month, as well as we have several sessions lined up for June as well. So tonight, during our presentation, Brittany and I are going to be predominantly talking about the different components of 21st Century Scholars. So we're excited to explain what the scholarship is and what it can mean for your family as your student is ready to enroll, as well as what will happen later on as he or she is looking to navigate college. So we're going to dive into that tonight. But beforehand, I want to maybe just back up a little bit from the beginning and talk more broadly about what it is that we do at the Commission for Higher Education. So on the following slide, I wanted to talk just a moment about higher education attainment and how that is such an important pillar of what we look to promote and help our families achieve here in the state of Indiana. And it's something that's always been important, but I would argue now more important than ever. This is a statistic that Brittany and I share often, and it's a very real one, that here in just a few years, over half of the jobs here in the state of Indiana alone are going to require some type of degree or quality credential beyond high school. So our job is to go out and really educate Hoosiers on Indiana's post-secondary landscape, and also help them align their passions into different options in terms of post-secondary pathways. So we mentioned it's always been important, increasingly important, but kind of an interesting dichotomy to that is that higher education costs continue to rise on an annual basis. And some might even argue on a daily basis. I can't see anyone's faces in the audience, but I'm sure some people are nodding in agreement. So a lot of what we preach is higher education affordability. And in order to achieve that, it really takes early and effective preparation and readiness. And that's why we're so excited that you're joining us on the call tonight. In the state of Indiana alone, where we work for the Commission for Higher Education, we're actually ranked 4th in the whole United States and 1st in the Midwest in the amount of need-based scholarships and grants that we provide. And in fact, that equates to about $340 million that we pump into those programs alone each year. And a large amount of that is placed into the 21st Century Scholars Program. So very excited that you're going to listen in on what the scholarship is tonight. And we're going to go ahead and dive in now, because this is such an amazing program that we don't want any potentially eligible student to miss out on. So this is not a new program. It's been around actually for 30 years, and Brittany and I have been part of some really exciting events and initiatives this year, and are going to continue to do so this year to celebrate our 30 years. But since the inception, our program has really been designed to help all students reach their educational aspirations and do it in ways that are affordable. And we still are committed to that concept today. So the important reason we're speaking with you all tonight is that for our program, income eligible students who are in middle school, specifically in the 7th or 8th grade, are eligible to enroll with us. Now, by virtue of enrolling, that does not automatically mean that the student is going to earn our award. We do have expectations, both while the student enters high school, as well as by the time they've matriculated college, that are going to automatically, at the end of the day, mean that the student first earns and then maintains his or her scholarship. So Brittany's going to do an awesome job later on kind of breaking down what those different expectations are of our students. So again, really emphasizing the time to enroll is during middle school. And one thing that we really want to emphasize tonight is that for our current 8th graders, our deadline is June 30th, 2020. So that's a month and some change away. So there's still plenty of time to complete an enrollment with us, but we know that time flies. We know that there's a lot going on right now. We're in the middle of a public health crisis that's been caused by COVID-19. So we want to keep this conversation at the forefront of what we do and get 21st Century Scholar information into as many families as possible, because it's an amazing program and can make all the difference in terms of affordability and access for our students. So we're going to break down first eligibility requirements, and we'll start off with citizenship and immigration. So first and foremost, students to be eligible can be a U.S. citizen or eligible non-citizen. And we get a lot of questions about the latter, and for good reason. And I'll talk just really quickly without getting into the weeds of kind of what those statuses equate to. A student who's an eligible non-citizen can be a permanent resident or essentially a U.S. green card holder. And there are certain non-citizenship statuses that also can allow for eligibility with our program. Certain ones such as a refugee, humanitarian parolee, or an asylum seeker that has had that status granted can tap into our awards outside of just 21st Century Scholars. So I wanted to make mention of that. One other question that we get a lot is whether or not DACA students are eligible for our award, and unfortunately they are not by our statute with state aid, but there are plenty of additional opportunities that we can help any student gain access to, even if they're not directly through the state of Indiana. Secondly, be an Indiana resident. Obviously, our scholarship funds are coming from Hoosier taxpayer dollars, so we want to be giving that, of course, to Indiana residents and not students from other states. Another important thing, if we look at the third bullet, is that a student must be attending a school that has accreditation through the Indiana Department of Education. And one thing that we don't have mentioned is that another type of eligibility, if a student attends a school who maintains accreditation that's recognized by the State Board of Education. So those two things. Unfortunately, students who might attend traditional homeschooled settings and be pursuing their education at the K-12 level that way are not eligible for our award, but I do want to make a distinction in that if a student is attending a virtual school that does have one of those two accreditation types, that would definitely work. An example off the top of my head would be Indiana Connections Academy, which is based here in Indianapolis, but does have students who attend that school who are based throughout the state. Couple different things I want to mention when it comes to our enrollment process that Brittany is going to talk about a little bit as a teaser for tonight's session. There are different criteria for that depending on a student's circumstance. By and large, most of our students are going through our income-based application, which means that we need income as part of the application process. However, for two specific statuses, for students who are active in the foster care system, as well as students who are under the legal guardianship of someone of whom is not their parent, those students are going to be exempted from our income standards for good reason for purposes of our application. Outside of that, our students who are in legal guardianship must meet that June 30th deadline by 8th grade. However, with foster care youth, they are exempted from that June 30th deadline, and as long as they are active in the foster care system, they can enroll up to high school graduation, but are still held to the same expectations as other students in the 21st Century Scholars Program. So let's go ahead and dive into the income standards for our program. What we do with our income standards, we have these each year that we publish, and we mimic free and reduced lunch standards that are created by the U.S. Department of Education. For purposes of our program, you can see that the overall allowable income amounts fluctuate depending on the family size. So for each additional person who makes up the household, because we're basing this on the household, people who reside in the home, you can add an additional $8,177 to that total amount. And Brittany will say this as much as me, all household members count. We get a lot of common things. Many families will not put children or very young children, infants on the application, and we stress every person in the household counts. So in some cases, a family might be denied and not understand why, and it's just a quick fix later on, but we try to avoid those things right off the get-go. So these are our program guidelines for this year. What we are looking at here are gross income amounts from all sources from all members of the household. And since it's year 2020, we always go 1 year behind preceding the year that we're actually in when we refer to that income information. So we're looking at 2019 income amounts for the family. Next, the pledge itself. So I'm just going to kind of talk quickly about it, and then Brittany's going to really dive in with greater details. But we do have expectations, of course, for our students. We want our students to be prepared before they leave their high schools to whatever post-secondary aspiration they have. So we're going to do our part to help them be successful. And so with those expectations, our students have to graduate with, at minimum, a Core 40 diploma, and then have no less than a 2.5 cumulative grade point average. The Scholar Success Program is really the cornerstone of what we do to support our students while in high school, which Brittany's going to talk about, but all in all, just elementary concepts that all students should be aware of by the time they arrive on their college and university campuses, just so there aren't as many surprises and barriers come up. Students are already very well versed in a lot of those different things that happen at the post-secondary level. Additionally, applying for college admissions as a high school senior to an eligible Indiana college. One thing I did not mention earlier is that our scholarship is only available to eligible institutions in the state of Indiana. And that can be in the form of public, private, or for-profit schools. So we leave all of those different options open to our students. Next, refraining from using alcohol or using illegal drugs or committing crimes or delinquent acts. This portion of the pledge has been a part of it since the beginning. Simply put, we want our students to not only be high academic performers and achievers, but also good citizens in the process. And then lastly, I'd be remiss if I didn't mention applying for financial aid on time as a high school senior and each year in college. That's something that's down the road, and that's referring to the FAFSA, which is the free application for federal student aid, something that is important for 21st century scholars, any other state aid program that we provide, as well as federal grants and loans, institutional dollars, as our partners from IU would tell us on the phone, as well as oftentimes locally, local foundations or community organizations that provide grants as well that are need-based. They're gonna want that as well. So it's critically important and something that we absolutely require of our scholars. And that's going to be it for my portion. Brittany is now going to break down the Scholar Success Program, both at the high school and college level, and then also talk a little bit about our enrollment process as a teaser. So thank you very much.
Thanks, Greg. So again, with the 21st Century Scholarship, we like to think of it as an aspirational earned benefit program. And so with that being said, again, we don't only want to just grant dollars to your students, we really want to make sure that they are informed and really understand the college going process so that they can overall maximize this affordability of achieving this awesome award. And so with the Scholar Success Program, we do have high school requirements that are well underway. So our current 21st Century Scholar students are doing it. We've had several cohorts who've already graduated from high school under these requirements. And we're very proud of how it's really set the tone in increasing that preparedness for our Indiana high school students making that journey. So again, as Greg said, these are 12 intentional activities that really help to meet key benchmarks in the college going process while the student is in college. And as we go further into this, I do want to say that the Scholar Success Program, if there are folks who do maybe also have some older students on the webinar with us, it's open to any high school student in Indiana who wants to go through these activities. We really wanted to set this out to be a roadmap that is accessible to everyone, but it is indeed required for our students who are seeking the 21st Century Scholarship. And again, these 3 activities per grade level year really hone in on, again, how they can plan, prepare, and pay for their college education. So you'll see, I'll kind of briefly go through some of the activities, especially some of the ones where we get quite a few questions about how to go about completing it. But for instance, some things that are already required and already a given: a graduation plan. Every high school student in the state of Indiana at an accredited school by the Department of Ed does a graduation plan. And what that means is from the outset in that 9th grade year, we want to make sure that students have an idea of what diploma are they getting, especially now with the new graduation pathways guidelines, really helping them to understand what they are working towards and really prompt them to think about, you know, have you talked to your counselor about an academic honors or technical honors pathway or track? What are some things and activities you want to do to make sure that you're successful in your high school years and preparing you for the future? Some other things that are also embedded within our taking a college entrance exam. So for our purposes, that includes an SAT or ACT. We are aware in this environment that more and more colleges and universities are not requiring that for admission, but we do want to say that we try to make sure this isn't a barrier to our scholar students. So in these cases, our scholars are eligible for waivers to take these examinations. So they are able to take them without having to pay the testing fee. And we know that there are institutions that do still require that. And so again, we want them to be prepared prior to their senior year by taking these examinations and again, maximizing their opportunity for admission to their campus of choice, as well as any potential merit-based dollars that may be tied to those particular scores. Some other things that are embedded within the Scholar Success Program are career-focused activities. So not only do we want them to think about this immediate step of going to college, but what they want to do lifelong with that beginning post-secondary education. So We have their taking a career interest assessment, getting workplace experience. And for us, that's expansive. We're not saying that every 10th grade scholar needs to have a job, but there are multiple activities a student can do to fulfill that requirement, such as an informational interview. When that is allowable, again, shadowing at particular places of business. They can participate in internships to fulfill this requirement, as well as other part-time work opportunities. So again, there's a wide array for our students to go about navigating that particular task. Some other key things, making sure that they take advantage of a college campus visit. So again, encouraging students to explore that fit and really become acquainted with our campuses. IU, as well as a lot of our other partner institutions across the state, love hosting scholars and do a lot of events to bring them to campus, get them acquainted with resources, and not only that student, but the family as well, to again, build that connection and again, find their fit for their college of choice. Some other key things that we have within are several video activities. So you'll see within 9th grade, as well as 10th grade and 12th grade, those focus really on some key stair steps on how to navigate paying for the full college picture. We'll share in a later slide what the scholarship exactly covers, but it is not what we would call technically a full ride opportunity. So there will be some costs still associated with attending particular campuses. So really thinking about what are some other scholarships that students can go forward to help make that package complete. Or again, if it comes to taking out loans or things like that, we want to give that information during those high school years about how that process works, so that if a student does go down that path, they're making the decision that is most responsible, and again, maximizing that affordability for them overall. So again, this is a sample of some of the activities that students are able to complete on the high school side through the Scholar Success Program. Some things to note: sometimes students don't do things right on deadline. We know that's a reality for our high school students. And so there is some leeway within the program for a student to get caught up on activities, and they can also work ahead. So again, for a lot of our campus partners, they really do love engaging with 21st century scholars. So there are often opportunities for junior year for a student to really see and explore a campus. And we welcome a student to log that particular instance early on. And again, for that catch-up piece, the main thing that a scholar needs to be sure to do is to complete those activities before their senior year graduation. So, you know, it is our hope that they're not completing all 12 in those final weeks and days, but knowing that there is some flexibility in how they go about that timeline. So what does the scholarship itself pay for? So for students who do successfully meet those eligibility requirements for the program, it does pay up to 4 years of full tuition at an Indiana public college. So again, Indiana University, as well as our Ivy Tech community college system, Purdue University, Indiana State, Ball State, etc. So again, for those, that is tuition and regularly assessed fees. And so what that means are we will cover not only the cost of those courses, but again, if there are certain fees that are mandatory to all students attending that campus, we'll also cover those as well. So sometimes those are fees related to facilities or maintaining technology that are charged to all students. We do not cover things that are unique to specific program options that they may seek out. So for instance, sometimes students take courses that may have additional lab fees and things like that. Again, because those particular items aren't assessed to all students, unfortunately, we do not cover those fees. We also do not include room and board with the scholarship. We do not cover books. And we also don't cover things like parking permits, laptops. Truly the core is those tuition and regularly assessed fees. And again, that is content that we do cover during the Scholar Success Program with students, so that there is that awareness. Now at our private colleges and universities throughout the state, we work closely with the Independent Colleges of Indiana. It does pay partial tuition at those approved institutions. So if they are at a private nonprofit institution, we'll pay the average cost of a 4-year public college. So every year we calculate what that number looks like together to create that average for those institutions. And that amount is what can be applied towards that private nonprofit college tuition costs. If a student goes to a for-profit private college, or sometimes is referred to as proprietary institutions, we pay the equivalent cost of Ivy Tech Community College for that particular academic year. Now, with that being said, a lot of our college partners, including IU, do offer a variety of supplemental scholarships and incentives that 21st Century Scholars are eligible for. And so we do also bank that in a guide every year that lays out what are those additional programs, incentives, and awards by institution, as well as the contact information for how to get plugged into those particular programs. So again, for instance, in this case at IU, the student may be eligible for a Covenant scholarship that will help with room and board fees for attending IU Bloomington, or maybe they become a part of the group scholars program on top of their 21st Century Scholarship. That is how a student can really maximize and really help to do what they can to close that gap that may remain after our state-based dollars are applied. So with the success of our high school Scholar Success Program, it was brought to the attention of our agency, as well as a key piece that's been advocated for, of how do we make sure that students are continuing to take advantage of resources and intentional programming to help them complete the degree that they're seeking with the scholarship. And so this College Scholar Success Program was born. The class of 2019 is the first required cohort for this program. Right now that we are going through a pilot year with a host of campuses throughout the state, which does include some IU campuses who are testing this out with students in our delivery and our rollout, but this will be in full effect the upcoming 2020-2021 school year, where if students do not complete the activities as needed, it can impact their ongoing financial aid awards. So I did want to touch on this briefly within our slides, just so that, again, you have a full picture of what a scholar can expect as they go through this process and through this journey. So there are some items that a student, once they enter college, will need to complete every year. Some main things are completing 30 credit hours at their institution, and we call that credit completion. So again, really being purposeful and making sure the students are finishing as close to on time as possible, because the data shows us that as a student stays on time for their degree, that does reduce the costs of, again, if they have to extend further and further and further out with that graduation timeline. Another piece is maintaining their satisfactory academic progress, which is called SAP for short. That does depend on the institution, but again, similar to what we expected on the high school side, as far as seeking those core 40 credentials, as well as a GPA status, and making sure that they are, again, meeting those academic benchmarks to, not only renew the award, but to graduate with their degree. Making sure that they continue to file their FAFSA on time. So not only is that scholar expected to file the FAFSA their senior year of high school, they will need to continue to file that annually as they're utilizing the award once they get to college. And then another piece that we have added is identifying a mentor champion. So again, really prompting our scholars to think about who's in their corner and who's really helping guide them and connect them to resources on their campuses so that they can, again, really be plugged in early and maximize their success, and also help them to navigate the challenges that can inevitably rise going through the college process. The other portion of the program, we, again, really wanted to prompt students to, one, become engaged with the college that they're attending, and two, continue that career preparation. So there are an activity that we expect from the college engagement side, as well as the career preparation side each year for them to renew their award. So within the college engagement area, we do have several activities that a student could potentially do in order to meet that particular requirement. So again, thinking of our scholars, their first year, one of the things that a majority, if, of course, hopefully all are doing, is going to their first year orientation. And so that is one piece within the college engagement bucket that can already be logged and get them on set for that first year. And then within career preparation, again, things range from having their professional resume reviewed by a career coach or advisor on their campus, to actually performing an internship, and we encourage repeat internships within the program. So you'll notice the items that have an asterisk on them in this graphic are things that we will allow a student to log more than once because we know that they are high impact opportunities that really will help that student to persist and again, maximize their college experience. So again, we know that down the line, there will be a full-on enrollment session through the Academy, so we won't go into too much detail today, but we did want to make sure that folks had an idea of where they can go if they are eager tonight to get started and get their student signed up. So a parent and guardian can enroll their student on our Scholar Track system. It is our one-stop for all state financial aid programs. It's www.scholartrack.in.gov. And there you can create an account where you'll be able to find the 21st Century Scholars application. Another thing to note is Scholar Track is where your student will be logging those required activities in the high school Scholar Success Program as well as the college Scholar Success Program. So first and foremost in the enrollment process, you as a parent or guardian need to make sure that you have an account within the Scholar Track system. And once that's complete, your next step should be to then sign up your student to have their own account as well, where they can again start to track that progress and log those various activities. And the added bonus of this, again, I mentioned it's a one-stop. If there are other scholarship opportunities that your student may be interested in, maybe they're planning to graduate a year early from high school, they'll be able to access our Mitch Daniels Early Graduation Scholarship here. We have several scholarships related to teaching areas, as well as certain scholarships that are related to students of disabled veterans, as well as other public safety-based scholarships. So as a parent or guardian creating your account, you'll again click that register button on the main screen. It'll then take you to this page to choose your account type. You're going to want to select that parent type in the drop-down menu, and then it does give you a brief overview for each account type of what you'll be able to do within that particular account. So as you can see, that's applying for the 21st Century Scholars Program. If you decide to go through a community-based organization or the school counselor for this, you could still set up an account later as a parent and still be able to monitor the status of the application for your student as well as their progress in the Scholar Success Program. We do want to note that the Scholar Track system is where you make appeals to the state in regards to our scholarship program. So again, we know that there are COVID-related disruptions, and something that we want to note that any Indiana resident is able to file an appeal with us for various reasons as it relates to, again, scholar enrollment to actually receiving our various scholarships and awards, but they all must come through this Scholar Track system. So again, definitely wanted to make note of this as well, especially if you do anticipate maybe needing to make an appeal due to, again, these COVID disruptions that are taking place. So for parent account creation, it's relatively easy. All we need is your name and your email address. And once you fill that information in, we will send you an email that's pictured here where you'll be able to finish out the process by setting up your password. We do want to note it can be a little confusing to read. You won't click the login button. You'll actually click the long blue hyperlink that's in the message, and that'll take you to the next steps to set up your password. This again is the same way we do it for our student accounts as well. But again, wanted to note, please click the hyperlink and not the button. So once you've done that and you've set up your new password, you'll then be able to access your parent guardian account in Scholar Track. A key thing to note, you know that you are in a parent guardian account if it is green. So that is our main giveaway. If your account shows up as that main teal color that you saw on the prior slides, that means that you are in a student account. We do have that instance where there are parents who are also using state aid themselves. So know that you do have an option to link those accounts where you're able to see your own financial aid view as a student, as well as the children that you have as well through that parent guardian account. So you'll see right there on the front, there's a big button that says apply for the 21st Century Scholars Program. Within that, it'll take you directly to our web-based application where you're in the information that Greg shared earlier. Again, we'll go into more depth of what those items will be at the later enrollment session, but it is pretty straightforward, and you are able to plug in that information on the Scholar Track site. There is also a contact area, so if you do run into any issues or have questions, feel free to send a message through that, and that does go to our Financial Aid Support Center, and they'll also be able to assist you with any needs that you have in the system. So that's our main overview of the scholarship. If you do have a need for more information, we do have it linked here, so you can go to our learnmoreindiana.org website /scholars. And if you want to go specifically to that middle school information, under that students tab, there is a middle school button as well. And then again, we'll rehash all the enrollment information that we've shared this evening as far as how to navigate the process. If you have any specific questions for Greg or myself, we've also included our email information there. And again, we really want to thank Indiana University Bloomington for this partnership. And we're excited for the upcoming sessions of this deep dive. And we really hope that you do take hold of this information, share it with other middle school families that you know, as we continue to raise awareness of this awesome award and this awesome opportunity.
Good evening. My name is Vincent Isom. I'm the director of the 21st Century Scholars Program for Indiana University Bloomington. Our program is designed to support the students once they arrive at Indiana University. We're with our students all 4 years. We also provide outreach into the community such as this so that we can make our future scholars aware of the many opportunities and what awaits them when they arrive at Indiana University. We're fully staffed with an advising corps, and you heard us talk about the preparation for the career field. We have an advisor with a specific obligation to promote those opportunities and create those opportunities. So if your student comes to Indiana University, there's a whole career fair designed for them. We had over 1,700 students attend this career fair with over 300 employers, and it was a great opportunity for them to interact and increase their opportunities upon graduation to secure a permanent job, and in between to secure an internship. We also have an advisor that if the student has academic troubles and it gets in academic jeopardy, we have an advisor to help them recover their grades. In addition to those advisors, we have a lead advisor who is a catch-all advisor that helps coordinate things to make sure that our scholars are served the best that they can be at Indiana University. So we have advisors, in a nutshell, that specialize in 21st century scholars, all 21st century scholars that are on the IU Bloomington campus. In addition, we have a colleague that's here handling some of the technology, and that's Lisa Huffman, and she is our special projects coordinator, and she provides, again, the support and assist with many events such as this for our scholars. So when you come to Indiana University, you will be welcomed with the orientation, you will be maintained with our program all 4 years and supported from the beginning with acclimation to the campus to graduation. With that said, I'll turn it over to my colleague.
Thank you, Vince. Good evening, everyone. My name is Julia Jennings. My preferred pronouns are she, her, and I serve as Director of Community and School Partnerships, which is a program under the Office of the Vice President for Diversity, Equity, and Multicultural Affairs at Indiana University. I, too, am joined by a colleague who is helping with the back end of tonight's presentations, and so I wanted to briefly introduce you to Jim Melikar, who is our program associate, who helps with events like this, as well as our on-campus events. Our programs work with pre-college students and families like you to learn about valuable resources that are important and available to you to help with planning for life beyond high school. And we're proud to work with our partners on this and other upcoming events to offer the Pre-College Academy, Our goal with this program is to increase awareness of and access to resources like the 21st Century Scholars Program and the deep dive sessions that Vince is going to share with you now. Vince, I think you're still muted.
I am. I apologize. As a part of this series, we want to make sure that your young student is prepared to see the information laid before, look at some of the skills that are needed to succeed and execute and become a 21st century scholar. So if you look at our calendar, our itinerary, we have a student success and study skills session on May 16th, which will be providing great information for students to be able to apply now to their pursuit of a higher education. It will be led by, a portion of that will be led by our 21st Century Scholars AmeriCorps members who support the maintaining of the scholarship and success at Indiana University of our current scholars. We're also exploring career opportunities on May 23rd. Great colleagues will be here to talk about what is all available. IU admissions and campus life, how to get into IU, and what you can do once you're here. Paying for College 101 and navigating Scholars Track. It is an opportunity for the students to understand how to plan and the families to understand how to plan for college, and then navigating the Scholar Track activity to make sure that all T's are crossed and I's are dotted. Enroll and apply for the 21st Century Scholars Program. Bring it on home, get you into the program, let you take advantage of all the wonderful things that are in store for your student with this one simple first step.
Thank you, Vince. So there are a number of benefits to attending these deep dive sessions. First, you're going to learn how to make college affordable. We know that one of the biggest concerns that families have thinking about and planning for college is how to pay for it. And as you heard from our partners from the Commission for Higher Education, the 21st Century Scholarship helps cover tuition and fees at eligible colleges and universities within the state of Indiana. And some schools, like IU Bloomington, have additional financial supports, like the IU Bloomington 21st Century Scholars Covenant, to help cover other costs such as housing and food. Secondly, you're going to discover the limitless possibilities for your success through sessions like Vince mentioned, the Exploring Career Opportunities, where you're going to think about how your values, interests, and skills connect to possible career paths. In each session, you're going to meet IU contacts who will share information about important resources and are available to help support your college readiness journey by answering questions and connecting you with others who can help. You're also going to be practicing college readiness skills during each session. We'll have experts who will walk us through how to think about and use the information that's shared. Many of these activities are ones that will help you to complete tasks related to Scholar Track requirements mentioned earlier. So we'll dive into those again in the May 16th, June 6th, and June 13th deep dive sessions. And last but not least, you can be rewarded for learning. So by completing at least 4 of the 5 deep dive sessions, we will mail you a packet that will include a certificate of completion of the Academy, information further detailing topics covered through the series, a passport to your future to keep practicing skills, and a special gift to help you continue your college readiness journey. We want to encourage everyone to register for the Pre-College Academy deep dive sessions to get the most out of their experience with the program. So if you're attending tonight's session live, then you probably have already completed this step. But if not, you can use the web address on the screen of go.iu.edu/make-college-affordable. And that's all one word. If you're interested in other sessions, but you're not able to attend live, please still register to request that information and watch the recordings after the events have passed. Also, we'd like to encourage you to share this information with other friends and family members who may benefit. We understand that not everyone has computer equipment or internet access at home, so these individuals can still participate through call-in details or can request to have information packets mailed to their homes. Again, our goal is to increase awareness and access to resources for all to be successful, and we greatly appreciate your support in helping us to get the word out to others. So before I turn things over to Jim and Lisa, who have been managing the chat there, I do want to say a big thank you to our partners who are on the call tonight from the Commission, from the College Advising Corps, the 21st Century Scholars Office, and also to thank IU's Women's Philanthropy Leadership Council for providing funds to help us make this series possible. Thank you very much. I think Vince may have a few more notes to add. Vince, you're going to need to unmute.
Before we convene, I want to go back to the most important point, finances. It was something that Brittany said earlier. She mentioned our IU covenant. I wanted to talk to you about that briefly. One of the things that we offer to ease your mind according to your financial need is the IU covenant. You heard that the scholarship covers the tuition and some fees. The IU covenant, IU Bloomington covenant, covers room and board and some additional fees. So it's a great package that most of our students qualify for. Now, again, it's according to your financial need. So there are a few that do not qualify, but the majority of our students qualify for the IU covenant, which means that the cost of attending a Big Ten research institution is very little, very little. It's not free, but it diminishes that cost hugely and makes it very affordable for all families, which is the objective of the 21st Century Scholars Program, and IU Bloomington is all in that process.
Thanks so much, Vince. Jim and Lisa, have we had any questions come into the chat this evening?
No, we have nothing so far. So we would certainly open up the floor to any of our guests or our presenters to pass along any additional details or questions, things we need additional clarification on. We would be happy to entertain those at this time.
All right, well, if we don't have any questions, I do want to say that tonight is not your only opportunity to ask questions. We have our contact information up here on the screen so that you can reach out to any of the offices and partners that you've heard from tonight to follow up with questions that may come up between now and the next sessions. So please don't hesitate to reach out to us. We're always available for questions related to any and all of the topics covered here tonight, or information that you are seeking about Indiana University or the 21st Century Scholars Program. Again, a big thank you to all of our partners tonight. We appreciate you and your work, and we look forward to connecting with everyone on May 16th. Have a wonderful evening.
Awesome. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Have a great evening. Stay safe.